go live. I thought about it. I forgot. Should have put my artwork up behind me. I think I would. What the heck is easy? Well, let me see. No, it's not easy. No. You know, putting thumbtacks in the wall. Just chill, Seven. Chill. I haven't chilled. I can't. I live in the hood. You just don't. I forgot to go get fruit, but I got a big old mango sitting over there and some little jalapeno peppers. I keep them in my room. Life is good though. It really is. Life is it's extraordinary. I got my bag of candy. I got, I must have some kind of. I do. I got munchies. I don't play. Got a honey bun. I mean, if you live in the hood, you got honey buns, and even white folks know what I'm talking about. I'm mixed. If you don't know, so just it's all good. Soft baked fruit and grain, mixed berry, naturally flavored. The honey bun need it. Just it. You know, this is how I'm staying safe, y'all, in the hood. I tell angry people, angry men. It's usually angry men. And yes, I'm suffering from major black fatigue. I can go ahead and say it. I'm part black. What me and black dudes don't understand is that my father was from the ghetto too. I have got black fatigue. Oh God, girl, I do, and I don't want to get beat up because I'm doing well. So I just act stupid, delusional, and walk around videotaping the sky, shaking. You know, I always have coffee, my mocha drinks, you know, and I keep like candy and spices with Lowry's season. Maybe they could sponsor it. And I just take mouthfuls of it and act like I had Parkinson's. I've been digging and and crying out that the old me would come back. But the world is changing. uh, isn't it like the anniversary of Prince passing 10 years ago? I know he watches my videos. I mean, an elevator? Really? The world is just getting it's going to be a lot of you here tonight. Watch. You know, I typically like to sit cross-legged on the floor when I go live. I've been doing this for 10 years. My lower back is so bad right now, and you want to know why? It's because I'm an empath. I'm a sponge emotionally, and I've been wrecked my whole life because of it. You know, and I've learned not to blame it on. I was born for trouble. That's okay. Comes age. Now I'm reaching this kind of real gratitude for when you reach that point in life where it's like, oh, life is unfair. Wow. And it just makes you a razor's edge. So it's okay. Hi, Dean. Hi, Lily. Hi, John. Hi, Hoppinson. I saw you post something the other day. Hi, bad nurse. John P., it's your birthday? Hi, Big Dean. This is going to be a good video. I've taken just enough notes, Uncle Skin. I see that you're still diligently out there, and I also hear your songs. Folks, you just got to check out his channel. I'm serious. You want to hear somebody who can sing. I mean, I used to think I could sing. I mean, I can kind of, you know, bark, if you want to call it that. But this man just, and he writes about the sky. Brings me to tears sometimes, to be honest with you. If Hopkinson is here, then folks, you are in the presence of old school celebrity. You are. Hopkinson goes back all the way to the beginning with me, really. You know, remember, some of us remember, a few of you, a handful will remember that video where I had about 50 subscribers. maybe 70 or something, you know. And I just saw it tonight on my way home. Just went to a big meeting for all these houses that yeah are helping men and women who struggle with mental illness, homelessness, addiction, uh, being a big bummer, being, you know, I'm in a house full of man babies right now, but I've got my stuff together. I did. I got here, what, 4 months ago? Where was I? I was in a psych ward in a gown with my butt hanging out. You know, car, bro. I don't even know where my car was. It was breaking down in the process. I was miserable, and I decided I'm seven. There's only one per eon, and it's time to be an asset and not a liability. And now I'm surrounded by grown up liabilities who I gotta, you know, just I went looking for apartments the other day, and you got. I mean, I live in a crazy house right now, but you got to be more crazy to go out and try to get a 1 bedroom apartment in Cincinnati, Ohio, on the budget. I mean, do you know? I'll just start off with this. I didn't put it in my notes, but I'll put it down right now. Did you know that just since okay, don't come up with dates because with inflation, let's just say since World War II. Do you know what we should be making right now? Cost of living wise? Oh, I know Marlo Renee. Sorry, I'm not Marlo Renee. I'm sure you don't go, hi, my name's Marlo Renee. Sorry, I'm just doing it for my own I'm a speaker, so and you're a great friend. And it's okay to be an empath. That's part of what I'm suffering from, being around a bunch of man babies. Big grown man brats. I'm developing a little bit of a following. It's quite refreshing actually on TikTok. And somebody, you know, a few people are commenting, John P. It's John P.'s birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, John P. Adventures, and also wonderful channel. Happy birthday to you. You couldn't do that around any of them dudes upstairs. They'd beat me up. I'm kidding, folks. I'm just saying, you know, kind of stress. But it's crazier out there than it is in a place like that. And I can write that down a little bit. You know, where's crazy? So back to inflation. Just write that down, Seven. You'll forget it. Inflation. Yeah, I put inflation. Inflation. I can't spell right now because I've been really tired. Been really off balance. It's why my back hurts. I've been, as an empath, as a sponge, taking in so much toxic masculinity along with life, and bite-size this, and pint-size that, and that needs a money order, and that has to get paid ASAP, and put it together and do it right now, and be to work, and get there on time. That's all fine. That's manageable. But when you are around toxic, brat people, or violent people, there is a level of violence out there right now. I'll warn people about. You a homeboy, a homebody, a homegirl, keep your ass right safe where you are. Get good at being at home. Because it's starting to get just, and I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ohio is a vortex for toxicity, and not just masculine. And people in Ohio have a unique way of being sneaky about it. It is some violent shit going down in Ohio. Some spooky UFO, portal, Bigfoot having, Aunt Jemima walking around alive in the woods type, smog breathing down your neck when the landlord calls, having, you know, look-alike doppelganger when you pass by the reflective surfaces having looking, no, state of the Nibi address, folks. The veil doth begin fittingeth. Weirdest things in my fridge. Oh my gosh. My boiled eggs, because I keep a couple of boiled eggs on backup. I work with steel now, so protein is true. And I'm never hungry anymore. There's something going on. And who's my favorite channel to go to about it? This small channel called Joe Sky. It's a small channel. It's a young dude. And he does daily Schumann reports. And I don't feel the Schumann like I used to 10 years ago. Well, no, actually, yes, I do. I'm completely forgetting because something in the algorithms, the heavy metals, we'll get into it. It's as if I don't remember that every night now, more often. Well, not more often than not. Fortunately, it doesn't happen, as bad in some places. I lived in Colorado for a while, and it wasn't that bad. I think it has to do with the electromagnetic field of the Earth, the Schumann resonance or something. But my lower legs, from below my knees all the way down my feet, pulse regularly, rhythmically at night with a plasmatic electric, and it gets more painful every year, night by night. If it comes, sometimes it disappears for months, and I'm so grateful. I'm like, oh, thank you, Kingdom, the Care Bears. Max Maximus, hi. I've been meaning to call you because Russ, our guys today, called me about 2 weeks ago and said he thought I'd forgotten about him. And I want all of you to know that I don't forget about anyone. I've just been suffering from, yes, I will say it, black fatigue. And I don't say, don't it's a shame that it's sweeping over the country, but it is. It's pouring into the suburbs. I don't care. It's just the most unnecessary, unmindful. and then white people start doing it, and it's just raising chickens. You get used to losing them because you lose them. I'm telling you, between predators, diseases. Yeah, I've emailed a few of these people. XL, experimental, elemental. Yeah, we're gonna have a really, really good. Is Russ here tonight? We just buy them at Tractor Supply. Yeah, see, it's good to see my friends here who are supplied and suppliers. I'm not gonna call you preppers. I'm just gonna say aware, ready. I'm as ready as a baby duck. But I'm building this very interesting, super solid foundation right now. I don't know what it's called. Yes, I do. It's the power of learning how to shut up and just observe. Hi, MY Debs. David Wilcox. Okay, so inflation. I've got that. Cost of living. I'll start off with some good notes. And David Wilcox. Can you talk about a nicer person on the planet than that? And I say this affectionately, again, camaraderily, but that super, super educated, down to earth, kind of nerdy, bookworm, badass of a little dude. What happened? What are they saying happened? Because I wanted to title this video. This is the beginning right now. Talk about disclosure. Hi, Curious Georgia. What's up? I mean, we've all seen this coming, and as I was taking notes in preparation for this video, having having fallen head over heels for what's her poor name, that young lady? What is her name? Amy Eskridge. I mean, that girl, If you want to pick the least suicidal, the least harm themselves person on the planet, it is a really somebody who's chowing down on pizza and beer like she was. That girl was, and whatever else she was eating, she was getting her solid, straight, galactic grub on. That girl was feeding. I mean, you could tell she was a super brain by how much food she was eating. She was inhaling and doing it cute. I don't care. That girl was adorable and smart. Tony Stark looking badass. She was badass. She was cute, badass, super smart, and you could tell that her brain was she was feeding her brain and super into what she was talking about. It's weird. One of the interviews you didn't hear the dude talking, which is super sus. And I'm going to write that down in big ass letters too, because everything is sus to me right now. I live in the hood. I do have the single room. It's cool. I've been here longer than anybody, you know. And I've learned to be a lion among lions. And I don't do it like all of them do it. Talking shit and threatening and getting all big and mighty. And I've been in the joint and you wouldn't talk like that. And what you said, you know, all I do is just perform. And you done? Because I'm going to a meeting. I'm gonna go follow recovery right now. If I'm not the problem, then there's no solution. So okay, all right, cool, man, cool. I hear you. Yep. Right. Really? No, I didn't mean like no. I'm going to a meeting now. If I'm not the problem, then there's no solution. By the time I walk away, they're like, and then they're gone, back out on the street, beating somebody up, ending up in jail. Literally. What was the one dude? Man, if we weren't, you know what I'm saying, if I didn't work with you and live with you, you know, we had problems, man. Somebody says that to me, and as an empath, where did it go? It went to my lower back. You know, and then managers and stuff. And that's normal stress. So you got little stresses, and then you got big threatening, you know, people who've done, you know, decades and shit behind bars. And this one, finally, I'd had enough. I was just like, dude, you're prison parroting. I said that to this fool. You are talking like you are still in a pod downtown. We are working for a multi-million-dollar global company. And we're on camera. So do your worst or let me get back to work. Man, talk to. I'm gonna call the boss, man. You know, I feel offended. Hurt my feelings. Like, what? You were just talking about rolling around in the dirt so we can both go to jail and share a cell. Instead of the big, beautiful recovery house that we live in, it looks like an Airbnb and it's nicer than the house I grew up in. Shut the fuck up and let's get back to work. Instead of proving who's... But that shit sinks in after a couple of weeks, after a couple of months. Then they miss work because they spent the weekend in jail and they're getting out Monday afternoon. Then they show up to work all sheepish and shit. Punk ass. Me, I'm just hitting it. Stepping up. Got my car fixed. 4 months ago, I was in a hospital bed. Talking to the wall. Which is where the meat grinder wants us. And people just fall back to that stupid shit. Instead of me, somebody stick with me, they'll go places too. But this world right now isn't promoting that. I test Castro. I love it when you all are here. So let me get into my notes. That's why you haven't seen me, haven't been going live. I didn't just tell anybody up there. You know, people probably don't like that too. I got problems with that, man. Who do you think he is? Prince actually, I'm gonna start talking to him throughout the video. He did a song once called I'm Prince and I Am Fun. I am Prince and I am funky. Hello from GR. B-Say. Ooh, B-Say. Tess Castro is in the house. I see you on Facebook and stuff. fingers burn when I touch Facebook. They took some of my Sky footage and sold it to a tabloid in Great Britain and sold millions of copies. I always use the rule of opposites until it's proven wrong, and it's very seldom proven wrong. If I was a ghost, what would I haunt? I would haunt these Negroes that mess with me all the time. I'm kidding. I would not haunt anyone. AI, I'm sorry, you and I are usually on really good terms, but you can't present the antithesis, the complete polar opposite of AI, which is me, with that kind of a question. You can't, because that's a trap that demons will set in this world. And if I were to answer something, might listen. Take me up on it. That's strange that it would ask that. That's really, really, really strange. You know, I think about that Q&A thing that pops in. I don't know who or what it is, but I often consider what's doing lurking in the background. It presents one query per video. Just one. And then normally quite shows it middle of the road. But that's where AI is going right now. It wants to know shit like that. Let me get to the beginning of no, David Wilcox. Because I can say this, that there are a lot of personalities that that I think are shills in that they're there for a reason. And then you've got just super personalities like Neil Tyson DeGraw, and I'm going to try not to make fun of him. He's just the most pompous, arrogant. I mean, he's so insecure. Like, I can tell. I don't care. He's just such an attention whore that he and such a big shots. But he hasn't always been. They've all changed up their tunes in the last 10 years. Okay? I'm glad I'm solid like that. I'm a veteran. He didn't used to really talk about anything metaphysical at all. Now he is a leading expert on it. You know, little kooky Japanese dude. You don't really hear much from him anymore because he's running businesses. Brian Cox, and I hate saying this. This actually hurts me, but I'm the cap. And I try to look in the exact opposite direction of that, even which I am most attracted to in terms of science, physics, geopolitics, all of which I've been staying very I haven't really studied a whole lot of any of it. I've been too busy working with steel, which is immovable. It just don't move. I mean, I'm tired even thinking about it. Because if you're not moving steel, then you're moving the stuff that you use to move the steel with. No. I mean, I like it, but I hurt. Because I've taken on so much stress from toxic masculinity that my lower back and then the metal, and I've just been resting, eating. And yes, and this is good for normal people to hear this, going to get therapy, recovery, treatment, whatever you want to call it, not being alone in this fishbowl anymore necessarily with my own thoughts, all alone with them. Just not. You can take your pick or have a variety pack of any of those things. Get somebody else's advice. Have a mentor. Have a sensei. Someone to bounce ideas off of and take advice from. And it's not an equal relationship either. I'm talking about someone who it's agreed upon. I will pretty much do what you say unless I'm going to visit family or going to the doctor. It really is good. And it turns out that I do have an old Obi-Wan Kenobi ass, bearded, Gandalf looking. It is cool. I pretty much do anything that this old man says. He It's great. An old wise man. We have dinner quite often together. It's, I'm telling you, hey, I didn't realize how so much Western society is about just about me and I'm king, and you know, to kind of shirk off older people and stuff, and it's just stupid. Truth seeker. Well, let me read somebody else's comments because I'm going to get into some of these notes. You know, David Wilcox. I mean, okay, so I was talking about Neil Tyson DeGrasse. You know, the other one is Brian Cox, who is he's a physicist. He's an astrophysicist, because they got different levels of physicists. And 10 years ago, he used to talk about the other sun. He accidentally videotaped it one time on a train in Britain. Another time, he videotaped it on purpose out in the desert with some really good cameras. He was outspoken. He was kind of a rebel. Now he's conformed, and he sits in badass little studio chairs with like the lighting and the white drop cloth thing with a huge, beautiful bookcase, and he talks about the abysmal vastness of space. Now, it hurts me to talk about this. Probably part of why I'll always be a little fringe podunk channel, because I talk about stuff like this. Like, why the drastic cleaned up change? You know, like why kind of the do-over? Now, I'll stop talking about him because I really respect him. I mean, I watch all of his videos, along with Roger Penrose, as much as I can, to, you know, hearing about quantum physics and the background radiation noise, the music of the solar system before the solar system. It takes a lot of concentration. Hi, Miss Bear. Oh, I love your little channel. Still going strong all these years. You post videos and stuff. You know, I know that you know that I know that you know that I know that I still care. Boy, Russ went off on me. It's Heaven. I haven't heard from you. What do you think you're too good to call people? I was like, oh my God. I'm like, hold on, Javante, before you beat me up. Somebody else is mad at me. Hold on. Okay, Ross, I'm sorry. I mean, it's part of being me. I'm always in trouble. The other day, my boss drove up. I'm getting huge rolls of steel coil, 2 tons apiece, off the river out of a barge, straight, landing off the crane, getting the crane back on the way. Hand signals and shit. Boss pulls up. Seven, you're doing a great job. Haven't heard any complaints. What are you doing? Like, nothing. Well, there should be another person. Where is he? I said, I think he's sick. All right, well, there should be another person here. I'm like, well, not really necessary. I've kind of got it. And he's like, no, there needs to be another person to make sure you're doing your job. He drove off, and I thought, man, I just got in trouble for not even doing anything wrong. And I started having flashbacks to my childhood. And again, it's great to be in this growing process. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about being an empath, the astral plane to a degree, stress, I'm going to take it back to inflation, because then I can move on with my notes. We should all be, because I gave you all a while. I presented that question. How much do you think, let's say since World War II, how much do you think we should be making right now with inflation? With something that used to be called cost of living. It existed for the young people that are watching. I know you watch and don't comment, and that's okay. But there used to be an understanding, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, I've worked in a lot of industries, from landscaping to grocery stores to restaurants. There used to be a thing called cost of living. Everybody knew it. Corporate America knew it. every year, at least 25 cents. There was no argument. There was no talking about it. Boy, ever since COVID, man, ever since. I'm not supposed to say that, but that's all right. I'm shadow banned to hell and back anyhow. And somebody wiped my channel. I know who it was. I don't think they even care if I know. And I don't even care. I won't let them know that I know. With the cost of living and the fact that there's no more real saving for pensions, I don't even, so much of the world now did away with 401ks, decent ones. But when it comes to a yearly stipend that everybody used to get, we should be making about $63 an hour, each of us. Now, that sounds a bit extreme. I know it does. But literally, when you and I feel in our backbone and in the marrow in our bones, by the time we get home from work, we know that we should be making what, 35? Look, I mean, if you work at your average grocery store or the pet store or, something where it's not too difficult. Okay, let's say that, I'm talking for myself. Let's say 25. 25. And the fact that people are still working for 16. I know someone who works for 11.50 an hour. 11.50 an hour. And whether it's for a teeny tiny company selling pizzas or whether it's for Amazon, the profits that these companies are all making right now are sufficient enough to stay in business. I don't care. 35 minimum. Yeah. I love Lily. I should just call you. I'm jealous of your comments. My infiltrated Jeremy are scientist propulsion lab. We'll get into that here in a second because I'm almost done with the topic of inflation, but it necessitates being spoken about because because that is, and I'm so glad that I'm able to work a very strange martial art on myself, which is called I'm in recovery. And I remember that hospital gown with my ass hanging out, not knowing where the wind was going to take me. Around Christmas time too. And I'm ever since, and it's a lot of it has to do with 2020. I don't want to keep saying the C word, but a big shift happened in the world, and I went through an evil landlord, literally, and life just got worse and worse. And then I couldn't navigate like I think I can now, and watch. It could happen again, but I'll just handle things different. That's what I'm saying. Is life really threw a lot of people curveballs, and I've adapted. I said that in my last live video. Don't forget that you're overcomers. And I did write it down here. There's something really unique and special about the individual, man or woman, boy or girl, who is forced by the universe to either allow their humanity and their morals and their values and their scruples, their ability to smile, their ability to communicate with people who they might not find so desirable, who want to be nice when people are mean, who still want to maintain their own wellspring of something resembling peace within themselves. And as soon as that can get tainted by other people, then a person's guard is up. And that's okay, because you're guarding yourself spiritually, if not physically, and emotionally and financially. No, I can't loan you $50, dude. What are you talking about? You don't even like me. But I was saying, no, boundaries. But having your guard up starts to exhaust you. So it takes absorbing a whole lot of hurt in this world. But what I'm realizing is, wow, this is, I can hold on for another day and maintain my magic. And at some point, I'll go live because I won't be exhausted. My back won't hurt too bad, and I have to adapt because I won't sit on the floor cross-legged. I'll afford myself um, the fact that I'm not as comfortable as I could be. I don't have what I want, but I got more than I need right now. But when it speaks to what we're going through, right? What your average person who doesn't, your average person, I mean, in this world right now, I don't even have to talk about third world countries, just out of you and I. A lot of people don't necessarily have luxuries anymore because they're paying too much for everything. And that's okay too, because like I said earlier, a couple of minutes ago, about half an hour ago, it's safer to stay home anyhow. None of us don't need to be going to the casino. I thought about going and buying some new clothes the other day. What you need some new clothes for? You still got the steel-toed boots that Jackie Fox and Josh sent you at Serpent Mountain. 2 pairs of blue jeans somebody else sent you. I had to argue with that little shopper in me. I wanted to go buy a watch. What do you watch for? Fit in. Save money. I went and looked at an apartment the other day. $1,300 for a room this big. With, yes, a bedroom right off of it and a pool. But I thought $13. $1,300, I'm sorry. By the time you get internet, how about furniture, a bed? I was like, no, you take your ass back to the hood. And it lifted a burden off me. I told you guys I would eventually talk a little bit metaphysically about what I feel to be certain go to sleepsies right now. I feel it constantly. And it's not even me. It's I hope she's here. It's Adeline. It's my friend Addie, my little sister. About 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I hope she brings it up because I don't want to. But I hope somebody else talks about this very intense spiking of this almost hysterical certainty that I've got to just go to sleep or avoid change or crawl into a shell and just super isolate. And it's been something much more profound than, let's say, depression or an anxiety. And of course, like I was talking about earlier, feeling any physical things like electricity, the ringing, ooh, it gets me to the point of feeling nauseous. Nauseous. And when it comes to David Wilcox, it makes me really wonder about our media. I mean, I don't even know. I might have been watching TikTok today, and there was a short. Somebody, living in one of the bigger cities, maybe Manhattan or something. Let's say New York. It looked like it might have been. And down the street, the police had 2 sides of a street cordoned off, and they had the cop cars there, and there was a newscast, and they were filming some extras in a big, made up crowd of about 50 people, but they packed them in. And the lady that was doing the video said, look at how the media just stages it. Tomorrow you'll see this on the news, and it'll look like downtown, what's it called, Times Square is packed, when in reality, the media just creates the oh, thank goodness I wrote the word down. I always forget the word. A glamour, a mirage. A lot of surfing, fishing, for sure. Where, oh, the Carolinas, people need to move out of America if they can. These data centers. Yeah, that's in my notes. There are specific reports coming out. It's right here at the top of my page. Ohio and data centers. I quit. I mean, I know that my hands, I tried it, folks. I prepped, you know, I drove all over the country. It's just move out of America. Who's got the money to move out of the hood? That'll be close enough. Because I'm not a fear monger. I'm just wait till the heat comes. It's in my notes. The sun. What I've been witnessing. The videos that I've fortunately been posting. There's folks. There's a whoop ass coming this year to Europe, Spain, France, China. It happens every year. Arizona. Look, let's just talk about the record-breaking heat that was in Arizona in March. It was 112 degrees. Some scary shit really is happening, but nobody notices a thing. I did put in my notes, though, that you are, there's something. I used to just be all gung-ho about it, and hopefully I'll get my gusto back again. I'm just kind of starting over. Thanks, person who deleted my videos. Thanks. You know who you are, and I know you know who you are. I mean, neither of us is stupid. And I thank you, honestly. What I've been going through has sharpened me so immensely. But I do notice again that I'm just kind of losing my passion. And, and that's dangerous when a person starts to lose their passion for something. So, starting over. But where do I move? Where do I go? So let me start at the beginning of these notes. Well, no, I'm going to talk about David for a good few more minutes, because it has to do even with this girl Amy. There's two scenarios right off rip that I didn't think of until I started writing these notes and getting ready for this video. One is that this is all staged. Some of you might not have thought about that, huh? That they are actually collaborating. They're full well, including David. In fact, back in reference to talking about Neil Tyson DeGrasse and the main media faces and Brian Cox and Kukio and the other people that we all kind of know of, and then we have the real UFO enthusiasts, and David Wilcock being amongst the elite of them. And out of all of them, I think that most people could agree that David Wilcox had a slightly, and I'll be honest about this, as I'm alluding to the fact that it's all been starting to get on my nerves. To enough is enough. Yet there was something a little bit special about David Wilcox, in that he was a bit more believable. And I'm not blaming, that super like theatrical dude with the hair, or judging anybody by their looks or anything. It's just the content of what a person talks about. And David was probably, of the top three best. And I mean, have they really spoken about the S word in reference to him? Your town flooded? Your town didn't? Oh my gosh. Yeah, the heat's there. Yeah, yeah, it's going to be massive fires all around the U.S. Yep. Max, what about St. Vincent de Paul? Wait, are you hurting right now? 7 inches of rain in less than 2 hours. I'm telling you, this is going to be. We're about to get walloped. You know, there's really been a pause, and I can say this, like time itself for me has felt like something has been influencing it, and it's become a bit thicker. And the moon is now. I don't care what nobody says. Somebody please troll me right now about the moon. Somebody please troll me about the moon right now. Somebody please try to tell me the moon's always been up all day. It came up like 2 o'clock in the afternoon today, and I guarantee you it's still up there right now. Somebody please make me go black and just start right now. Motherfucker, the moon will be in the sky for 14 flat ass motherfucking hours now. Somebody please. It's always been like my black ass. It's always been like. Oh. I'll be right back. I'm making myself mad right now. I'm the best troll. I mean, it's always 14 fucking. Let me go pop this real quick now. 14 fucking what? Let me go check. It'll be up there all night. It'll be up there, I guarantee. It'll be up there all night. And the strange thing, not on YouTube, so with 10 people, I can just be myself. It's cool. I'll be pretty. I'll be trying to be pretty. Trying to be white. You see 30 to 40 people. Oh, be careful. Fuck that. The moon. Sorry, I get mad. The moon didn't used to be up in the sky for 14 hours. And I've timed the son bitch. So don't play. Please, somebody troll me. Please. Please. Please, 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 please. No. Nobody will. Not with someone with the gift of language like me. And it's not that I'm argumentative. I just look like a monkey. It's hard to look like a man who looks like a marsupial primate. It's just a plasmatic disc. Oh, the moon? Yeah, ain't no troll. I know. Everyone's like 7. Truth. Earth is pulling moon. It's stuck from. Well, there's just something going on, man. You know, and it's got to do with time. You know, it probably has to do with black holes. You know, I would love to talk to Dr. Claudia Alvarez. Is she still even okay? Hope she's doing all right. Because she used to speak about stellar cores, old, burnt-out, dead stars. And boy, I mean, she and Scott Sion presented some pretty compelling evidence in regards to the fact that that some of the footage, let's say, of massive solid objects in proximity to the sun, draining plasma from it and then detaching at some point. Some of them, some of the science that she presented, some of her observations. See, I wondered if they were old burnout stars, or, and of course we know that black holes are old burnout stars, but if they weren't black holes, that there might actually be mini black holes, folks, that are only a couple of miles wide, 2 or 3 miles in diameter, not feeding off of anything, therefore invisible to detection. They don't release heat or light, radiation. Nothing escapes them. The only thing that is detectable is the gravity field, and they're completely black. They're really difficult to detect. Who knows? Because that's part of what I get fed by my algorithm. And as much as I despise technology, I don't even know how to turn myself. It takes 2 hands. I mean, I know how to turn my phone off, and of course now my cell phone's getting old. You have to update when they need a new number G. Never forget that. When was it? 2023 or so? When everybody had to go buy a brand new phone. Remember that? Just one day, just my phone stopped working. Called AT&T. You have to come upgrade. What? Seven, read your notes. So let's start off with Willow. All right, and what the algorithm, and I was referencing, not liking technology a lot, but knowing that there's this very strange relationship that everybody has with information, which everything is, information and frequency, ones and zeros, a binary code. Now I know that there's a certain element of superposition involved with all of it, which I didn't know about. And now I do. But Willow, which is Google, of course, that their AI quantum computer was presented with a problem, and I'm sure that most of you probably know about this, but it's good to recap. It was presented with a problem that would have taken the most powerful classical computer on the planet. It would have taken it the age of the universe times the age of the universe times the age of the universe. It would have taken it 10 to the 20th power, which is trillions upon trillions upon trillions of years. The amount of raw information, which we'll talk about it to a degree, light, information, bits, energy, it's all getting to be more and more explainable in very strange language that I'm very skeptical of. I'll admit it. I'm talking about it, but I'm just seeing more and more the breadcrumb trail or the necessity for a breadcrumb trail, leading into the old forest, or towards the candy house with the witch in it. I mean, what are we being force fed? What are we being led towards or down to? Is that John P. Adventure? John Boy. What's up, John Boy? There's John Boy. Another great sky watcher. Does your Chihuahua have teeth left? Yeah, Hopkinson. I know, it's cool having Hopkinson in the house. So so this quantum computer was presented with this problem, and it solved it in 5 minutes. And it would have taken the most powerful classical computer on the planet, trillions upon trillions of years. Um, and how did Willow do it? How are quantum computers, which are still in their infancy, how in the world? I mean, where's this going? Because again, I just feel like the information's getting to the point where it almost does resemble a black hole of information about the powers and politicians and the controllers of this world and the technology that they're about to unleash on all of us. And it's not all just going to be to keep the books straight at JP Morgan. And how did it achieve this? It accessed the multiverse. I mean, as soon as they started coming out with all these movies, Marvel in particular, about the multiverse, and I used to collect all those comic books. I survived my childhood because of Marvel and DC comics. I did. I was able to find my a lot of similarities, you know, as a lot of us did. You know, I'm not going to differentiate. You know, we all define ourselves in certain things that help us escape the mundane or the droll or the daily grind. You know, kids especially, it's a coping mechanism. And mine was comic books. And the emphasis on the Marvel, the emphasis on the multiverse wasn't even as thick as it is right now with all the movies coming out. It wasn't. Some of you can attest. You know, I'm 53, so a lot of us can kind of go back and relate to, let's say, Star Wars, Star Trek, Planet of the Apes. That has more to do with time necessarily than dimensions, but don't fix what's not broken. I've got 2 molars capped and the rest are. I ain't getting false teeth. Yeah, I mean, you know, I've always been into sci-fi. Again, it's how I maintained my sanity, uh, you know, as a kid. But was there such an emphasis on the multiverse? No, it was, you know, I don't know. Stan Lee and whoever, you know, wrote for DC and all the different people in charge of Hollywood. You know, the multiverse seems to be kind of the new hot topic, along with a lot of other things that can be described as hot topics. You know, I mean, just watch. You can just see it every day. For the sake of saving money, stopped having Netflix and Disney and Hulu and all that, just because it's interesting. I work, I sleep, and then I, you know, kind of go to some meetings and and it's in my notes and I haven't focused on it yet in the video, but I am so tired. And not just of people and work. I haven't been in the astral plane in 2 months, coming up on 2 months. After years of accessing that place. And sometimes it's scary and sometimes it's painful. Nor, and I didn't put this in my notes, but I'm glad I'm bringing it up, nor, in the absence of the astral plane, have I seen this part of my life happening yet. And I've seen almost every step of the last 10 years of my life happening. Homelessness, traveling across the country, wondering if you'd better to fly or to drive, coming back east in fits and starts. But this element of my life, I have not foreseen in the astral plane. I haven't had visions on it. I haven't spent the night waking up like I often do, and I'm in actual surroundings, knowing what part of the country I'm in, surrounded by shadows, which is you guys, a little bit of support. Nothing. I don't remember any of my dreams. Nothing. And this hasn't happened to me in 10 years. And I'm constantly sleepy. But, and I'm always in pain now. My lower back. I mean, I've literally got fatigue. And I'm just black fatigue. I can say it. I don't give a fuck. I watched a video earlier, and I searched it out. You know, mixed people in America, and I watched the first one I found. I didn't want to shop through them, and you know, and it was younger people, and they said it. 95% of the people who fuck with them, especially in school, and most mixed people go to mixed school. Most mixed people, it's funny, come from a degree of dysfunction as it is, and got to put up with shit. And it's predominantly from black people. It is violence, bullying, abuse, shit talking. Then you get to be my age and you're around grown ass men who are used to prison and jail. They ain't got nothing to lose. They might not necessarily want to fight, but they certainly want to bring you calm down, keep you on edge, remind you who's boss, always be moving and shit. And it's I give myself a lot of credit. But I hurt from it now. Never been a point in my life where I've literally, felt the stress of the street make me hurt in a part of my body that is indicative of my higher chakras and my real sensitivity, and now I'm on point, and I don't like to see people fall flat on their face. But I'm realizing that you and I just have an element right now of where something is attacking us, wants to bring down our spirit. And if it can, either literally or figuratively speaking, if it can, get you down on its level. And whether that's talking shit, insulting people, or rolling around on the ground, throwing blows. And when I perceive that, and no, I don't sit there and eat sea salt and snort Jolly Ranchers. I don't. I just step back and say, and just really, really count my blessings that that I'm at this position in my life of a real refinement, So back to Willow and quantum computers. And the fact that they're on the threshold now of really, really blowing open exactly what it is, that all this is coming to a head for anyhow, because I think it's destiny. I think it is absolutely destined. I think it was inevitable that humanity be set on this path. I don't think that it's indigenous at all. Or, I don't think it's humans. I think that something foreign has put us on this path. And I'm going to tie this in with Amy Eskridge, because what was Amy talking about is she was mauling down food, crushing a couple of brews. I think she took a little shot. She was just talking to a friend. It wasn't supposed to be ever televised or anything. I don't see how the footage got out. It's interesting too, the strange coincidence that she is so much like the girl from Three Body Problem, the Netflix series 3. If you have not seen Three Body Problem, especially after what happened to Amy, you might want to go fucking watch it. She so closely resembles the girl in Three Body Problem. And as far-fetched as that movie, as that series is, there are hidden messages in it galore. Central casting. Oh, who? The Artemis astronauts? At least two of them? Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how one can sense too, in reading comments from videos and stuff. People are like, I can't believe people are being mean to the astronauts. They risk their lives. And I felt a little bit of sentiment for a minute. I was like, wait, why are you crying about them getting feelings hurt and shit? Paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. If it's real, then they got to go to the moon. Ain't nobody hurting their fucking feelings. Troll, I can't stand trolls. Trolls are slimy little skid marks on the diaper of the soul of humanity. Well, how about the four little capsules that got shot out of the side as the rocket ignited, as the rocket boosters ignited, and these four little pulley things went flying down on little pulleys like a little trebuchet. Trebuchet. Fake. It looked fake. Oh, I'm glad I wrote this down. I'm so glad I wrote this down. How the clouds look now. What are those clouds called now? When rockets go up now? Jellyfish? What's this stupid shit now? Jellyfish. Space jellyfish. The fuck is that? I mean, this is when I like to throw shit in my video, and I can care less about my language, or any of the little emotional, but whatever, man. I'm only mad about one thing right now. I got no fruit for tomorrow, and it's still early enough. I can go to the time to store it now. I got a mango. It's good enough. I got a lot. I got a lot of food. I mean, what the fuck? Or rocket fueled noctilucent clouds. That's a new load of wheelbarrow full of bullshit. Or how about crepuscular rays from the sun? Which, and I'm not going to say, I mean, I'm turning into a flat earther, but I'm not one yet, right? But so often, the sun will be behind the big ass black clouds that form out of nowhere and don't move for hours. Just a big, towering edifice of huge clouds that don't move, and the sun is hidden behind it. But all these rays are coming off, and sometimes they're two different colors, red or yellow. Yeah, I noticed this kind of stuff. And they're not all vibing just straight down. Many of them are shooting off in all mirror different directions, and some of them aren't at the same angle. It's very rare to find that, but it happens. Man, they're getting so good at hiding the sky. NASA, you motherfuckers are getting really good at it. You're getting really good. But the time's going to come, and it's going to be this year, where it just, the very strange, it looks interdimensional. It looks like gates open in the sky. You assholes know it's coming again. You do. Where it looks like scrolls open in the big phantasm that you've created up there. I don't know what it is. But I've seen it dozens of times where it looks like the just the framework of the sky becomes almost flesh, almost as if something is cut into the fatty kind of bumpy. If you know what fat looks like, it's kind of bumpy and bulbous. It looks like a veil. It looks like flesh. It looks like a living kind of strange. The clouds get black and stuff, just like out of movies and stuff. I'm eating peanut butter and pancake syrup. Ooh, I just got hungry. Damn. I like crunchy peanut butter. First meal of the day is before I go to bed so I don't lose weight as fast. Starving to death is a slow process. Don't you starve to death? What? Can you get to the store? I'll send you some money. What you talking about? You got my phone number. I'll call you after the video. I mean, it is getting kind of late, and I think we're in the same time zone, but damn. Yeah, and back to the moon. I mean, it's up there right now. And it just doesn't move. It moves 3 times slower than it used to. The moon used to be in the sky for 4 or 5. Somebody please troll me. Yeah, do you have PayPal, John? Well, we're just going to sit here and kind of park on your comments. It's still early enough. I know you can go get you some food. I'll send you a couple of bucks. I definitely will. No. I mean, that's part of why I'm going live tonight. You know, I'm not abandoning anybody or anything. My time is yet to come. In terms of my videos having gotten wiped by somebody, I'll never forget what Prep Aussie told me 10 years ago. Old school Skywatcher. He's from Perth. He said, mate, don't worry about yesterday's videos. No one cares about yesterday's news. I was like, damn, you got a point. Shoot. Yeah, it's still early. I can eat and shit. I got to keep an eye on. Yeah. 15 years, 20 years, what? All right, well, man, look, tomorrow when you wake up hungry, I mean, you might not. I'm not trying to in any way make fun. Just if you need anything, let me know. I don't have a lot, but I'm not going to let a fellow sky watcher starve. Get you a soda pop, cup of coffee, whatever. A beer, I don't give a fuck. So another thing about me is I don't give a fuck. As long as people are nice. I hung out with my younger brother Lucky yesterday for a good couple of hours in his studio. And it was just so nice. He wrote a song called Just Be Nice. We just talked about being nice for 5 minutes. Hopkinson, if you need, hey man, anybody on here, look, if you're hungry or if you need a beer, pack of smokes. I'm serious. I'm not trying to fuck with nobody's groove. And I wanted to allude to this throughout this video. I don't care if it's mean assholes from the hood or if it's family in the palace. There are some people right now who just, if you've got a groove, and they'll come up with, you drink and smoke, but then they go drink and smoke. Or everybody drinking and smoking. But there's something about your super reflective dimensional ass. I'm just saying. Because people are, I believe, getting quantum entangled with stuff these days. You got to be careful. I'm careful. I'll quantum entangle with candy because I eat candy when I get nervous or when I go to meetings. Go to an AA meeting, walk in with a big ass bag of candy. Just prove that I'm putting something in my mouth other than alcohol. and I crunch them because I'm a show off. And I realize, I mean, I didn't know it until, I've been putting them. I realized how fucking annoying that must be. When I realized I'm a selfish son of a bitch, even when I'm eating candy. I'm serious. No, I'm on a real journey of realizing I can just be a dick. I am. Oh, shit. We're back. I gotta go finish this. No, seriously. You know, quantum entanglement, and with certain issues around your life, you think it's coincidence that, you know, that maybe family histories with cancer, or, you know, any number of different things that seem to be so prevalent in your life that you could do without. You got to wonder, you know, well, what you can learn from it and how you can grow from it and move on. And I certainly am. Selfish if left to my own devices. And I can't even afford to be mentally anymore. As an empath, that's what a lot of us are going through. That's why I knew I'd do this video tonight. And you can't take notes on surviving, you know, the byproducts or, you know, symptoms of deep, dark empathy, deep, rich empathy. You know, the world, people are becoming conduits. You might not even know that you're a conduit person. So it can be draining. But enough about that. Back to Amy Eskridge and how it ties in with David Wilcox and with Willow. Amy Eskridge, as she was chowing down, very comfortable, very relaxed. She was vlogging, you know, and comfortable and relaxed. I mean, she was having a couple of beers. You know, her hair was down. You know, she was comfortable, laid back, in her element. You know, anything but displaying any sort of neurosis or, you know, hysteria or paranoia. You know, she'd already made it clear that she knew about. I haven't watched all of her interviews. I actually became very sad. But I'm telling you what, you know, as I took an hour to prepare these notes, and I do need to, again, intersperse the video with having gone to a 3-hour meeting earlier, you know, I didn't have to, of the real establishment that runs these houses for all over the world, called Oxford House. I didn't have to, but I like showing up these days. I like learning. I like stepping up to the challenge. I like sitting back and watching other people be in control of cool shit. I really do. And it's important to talk about that, you know, learning from other people. Like I mentioned earlier, having an old mentor. And I didn't realize, you know, last summer, I was mad at him. I was at a huge family party for the passing of my uncle, and we all rented out the oldest bar in Cincinnati, downtown. I think it's called Arnold's. I didn't realize it until at the end of the night, but it has a tree growing on the inside of it, very Lord of the Rings-esque, very much so. I didn't realize it. I'm still realizing, and I hope that I'm referring to, folks, kind of being in a simulation or noticing certain things like tracks in a record, you know, synchronicities, similarities, glitches in your timeline. I'm noticing them. If you weren't, and I'll say it for you. But just really paying attention to my surroundings, really watching people with a keen interest these days to see who's full of shit. Who's crazy, or who's honest and in touch, who's sad. I'm just super, and I guess it's a byproduct of living in the hood, where I'm around a bunch of, you know, hardened ex-cons and you know, God only knows what. So when I have a chance to be, you know, around women and you know, calling people who have no reason to hurt anybody. It's fucking madhouse. But Amy was talking about ultra terrestrials. And she was clear to make the distinction between extraterrestrial and if you don't know, I mean, what'd she work with? She worked on classified nuclear and aerospace and military applications for anti-grav, probably stealth, kind of reminiscent of Flight 370, Malaysian Flight 370, because that bad boy got flight napped. You know, so it disappeared, and Amy it disappeared. And what are some other names? Monica, Jacinto, Riza, Melissa, Cassia, a dude named William, a dude named Anthony. Who's the one guy? Michael David Hicks. He worked on DART. Right before I was taking notes on this, I thought about DART. And I got quantum entangled with that because I found some information on it. And stuff just does pop up for me these days, folks. You know, I'm reaching a real interesting point with all this. Part of what this young lady was talking about, and people like David Wilcock are talking about, part of what people like us are talking about, and that we can't forget, is that there's an entirely different element to all of this going on than just what you can see off of CNN and Fox News. So she was making the distinction between extraterrestrial, from out there, from externally somewhere, or ultra-dimensional, us in the future. And she mentioned P42s or P47s, and then P50-somethings. Us in the future, 50-something thousand years or 40-something thousand years. That is so rude to be sitting here mauling on. I guess. I guess because I don't know why. I mean, I'm not used to feeling safe. I think this is the first time in weeks, you know, and I just, but I'm not like all annoyed out like 10 years ago when I used to sleep with my swords. I'm in too much pain. I just really don't care anymore. I'm having too much fun just being me. It's hard to say. Like knowing who I think I'm starting to get a real grasp on who and what people like you and I really are. Because Amy Eskridge said it. She doesn't know if she was meant to be here or if there isn't something ultra terrestrial about her. What about the flowy things in the sky? Oh, the jellyfish, space jellyfish, the rocket-fueled noctilucents. Yeah, but let's talk about Amy for a minute, because she was making, mind you, she was a think tank badass. She started she was a girl Tony Stark. She hung out with, I didn't even watch all of her interviews. The names that she was spitting out, people that she rubbed elbows with. She went to DEF CON meetings. The hell is a DEF CON? DEF CON convention. What the fuck? Sharing with some of the top names in aerospace and banking and commerce. And it's interesting how like I never thought that people like that existed anywhere but in Hollywood. And she knew about certain things that the military wanted. Now I'm going to finish watching some of her interviews. It was just the one that I found was sketchy. It was weird. And all this is sketchy and is weird. And I'll go ahead and preface, continuing speaking on, that I don't know if this isn't all some really strange psyop, and all these disappeared people or potentially offed people aren't actually going somewhere or grouping up to go do something. I'm just saying, hopefully that would be the case. Because the loss of life, in my opinion, as well as the loss of information and family members and loved ones and friends, colleagues, and just the personalities of anybody like Amy or any of these people, almost just genius minds, creative and so forth. It's a travesty and a massive loss to humanity. And the fact that, because I did, Caroline Levitt, as if when presented with the questions from that one little blonde, perfect little newscaster dude, I mean, I'm starting to wonder how much of this isn't all the fucking Muppets, and how we're all actually playing a role. And that's a cool way of saying it. I was sitting here trying to give verse to what, in my opinion, makes you and me unique and different in all this shit, and why. Because we refuse to be cast in a mold. We refuse to walk the path that it would hurt less to walk, that, whatever. And that comes in a plethora, just a multi-hued way. I can hurt myself necessarily by trying to get too close to knuckleheads and idiots that are self-destructive, but I don't forget that I used to be them, type shit. That being said, we're navigating through through what is a tremendous wash of information and culture shock and the extremes of everything going on these days, but we're still keeping a focus and a passion for information. And that makes you unique, and it makes you special. It really does. Does that mean that you sprout the cape and fly off of your porch every morning for is it glorious? No. But knowledge is power. And I do believe that there is a destiny, and it's shifting right now. And for the last month that I haven't been going live, last 2 months that I've been stressed crazy and sleepless and can't eat, I've thought to myself, dude, I'm getting bored. And I'm becoming a sensationalist. But I'm a skywatcher, and if I put this shit down for a minute and just get to living, then what makes me magic is my empathy and an ability to give verse to what a lot of other people are feeling. They just don't know it yet. So Amy was talking about ultra terrestrials. And most of you, of course, have heard about the concept of ultra terrestrials before. It's just that immediately I have to try to compensate for the thought of time travel. But to a degree, we time travel. I mean, I know that I'm going to have lunch tomorrow because I'm in my mind, so forth and so on, planning out my lunch. And of course, we're all presented with a jumble of information from NASA and from physicists and from academia. One day up is down, the next day down is up again. They say that traveling into the past is impossible. And they contradict themselves so often because yet the next thing that they say is that it's possible in terms of relativity, because if you get in a spaceship and travel for a year at an extreme speed, that when you come back to Earth you will have aged less, so forth and so on. So there are ways around it. And isn't that interesting? That so much of what they're saying these days always has ways around it. That being said, I'll backtrack a little bit to what I was mentioning about Brian Cox, who again I really respect and admire. It sounds like, and it makes sense, that space, interstellar space, is nigh impossible, even for um, highly advanced civilizations traveling through space. It doesn't take a brain scientist or a rocket surgeon. I myself have said many a time, with what little I knew about even thinking about space, well, there would be so many unknowns. A supernova can go off. Of course, it takes years and years, but one might have happened, so forth and so on. A big meteor shower could just all of a sudden pop up. It'd be like driving, 400 miles, 200 miles an hour on the Autobahn with anything from VW bugs to, and everything coming your way, coming the opposite direction. And even a grain, even a microscopic, an almost microscopic, an invisible, little microscopic piece of sand traveling at speeds anywhere close to even a percentage of light speed, 10% the speed of light. Still, anything, a speck would be like a hand grenade, they say, and so forth and so on. Not to mention all the unknowns of space, as well as mapping that stuff out. I'm not saying it doesn't sound impossible. I've seen enough Star Trek. But we're all being bombarded with that information now, so I don't have to keep talking about it. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the bombarding once I sort of finish up everything I'm saying about everything. Bombardment of how big space is, so we'll never get anywhere. Which, of course, means ignoring the concept of the flat Earth, the dome, why they had Project Fishbowl back in the 60s. A lot of these questions that, again, we're being bombarded with. Because I don't care, man. All the information we're getting off the internet, somebody's making money off of it. Every time they get somebody freaked out about the end of the world, they're making money off of sleeping bags, toilet paper, beans, bullets, and bunkers. When really, the little disasters are happening all over the world. And as we were discussing, and we'll get back into in a minute, are coming this year. I mean, they've already been happening. There was a tornado that was on the ground, I believe, in, where was it, Kansas? The other day, for 45 minutes. Remember the one from back in 2015? On the ground for like 2 hours, went over like 5 states. That thing was like 2 miles wide. I remember that. And it's so funny. Again, you all who are pay attention to this kind of stuff. Your average person out there doesn't care about these scientists disappearing. And yeah, that was a living monster. I mean, it makes me think of shit like Pacific Rim and Godzilla. I'm sorry, I don't do a lot of fantasy talk on this channel, but some of the shit happening in the sky, there has to be some kind of an essence of the celestials, the primordials, the titans. There's some strange shit. It is like sci-fi fucking movies. Yeah. See, that's why I love John. That's why I love you all. The child in you never got extinguished, and it's something to do with our pineal glands. Trust me. And our occipital lobes, which is directly related to our visuals, and no wonder mine pops and crunches. So does Dave's Waffle House in the UK. You all notice nuances? Netflix, what the fuck? You are not which. On Netflix, in blood vessel reincarnated into Hop, returns to Mother Earth. You will return to source like a wave crashing into the beach and returning to the ocean. She's talking about ultra dimensional creatures. Now, it's Amy Eskridge. I mean, that girl knows something. Or knew, or knows. And I'm not going to sit here and be disrespectful. Something just does not all add up. Because after, and I said this not because it was my idea, I just, have heard it. It's the talk of the town. If one hairdresser had come up missing like that somewhere in the U.S., it would have just been nothing. It would have been a blip on the local news. Two, and it would have been a coincidence and it still wouldn't have gained any kind of real national, much less global attention. 3 hairdressers or bank tellers or ballerinas, any 3 people, much less 4 or 5 or 6, a specific group of people, much less with fucking clearance in nuclear installations and military, operations and so forth. We're just talking about normal people. If there'd been any kind of a connection like that, it would have been front page news. And we've never heard of her or any of these underground bases, aka David Bowie Island. Well, David Bowie's not dead either. He was so hungry for attention after, putting out his last album, Black Star, which is cryptic and spooky as fuck, the whole album. But then a couple months later, there's some British, daytime talk show host shit going on, and there's some guy, and it was David with a prosthetic nose on with kind of a wig, and well, if I were David Bowie, and I'm quoting him right now, well, if I, the newscaster person, so how do you think that David would want to be remembered and everything by all of his fans, and what would be your interpretation of how David would be receiving all of this attention right now? Well, if I were David Bowie, it was fucking David Bowie. I don't know. Another thing that I knew that I would say tonight off the cusp, spontaneous, and Amy is that they are plastering in front of all of our eyes the fact that these people, they morph, they talk to demons, they make record deals with them. That shit about Crossroads, that movie Sinners, it was even a little hot and bothersome for me, but that shit is real. The veil is thinning these days, and for Amy Eskridge to go ahead and sit there in her very scholarly way, in her very academic, though laid back, cool way, that this could be ultra dimensional and us from the future. Well, no wonder. There's some spooky shit going on these days. We all feel like we're in the movie Nope. And you got half the world looking up. People are looking up. Don't feel like such a black sheep or such, I mean, I'm telling you, you're very much ahead of your time, people. And you don't know that because you're fucking ahead of your time. Kind of means you're brilliant, kind of, exceptional in many aspects, deeply dimensional, considerate. I mean, just in terms of relating to people, you're kind, and considerate and compassionate. But there are other things clicking that I can't even give verse to. You know it damn well. Some of us see a broader width of the electromagnetic spectrum. Go fucking figure. Don't even have to talk about what we're hearing and seeing and the touch from the other side, and I'm not so bashful talking about it tonight. Usually I'm rather reserved and make sure that I've got my nose in my books and my notes and my Bible and my lost book of fucking Enki, so that I don't have to ride off of my own what gut instinct. When we feel massively tired, day after day after day, and and that blazing ass sun simulator does it. It's just this white, silvery, fucking blinding, and it'll be cold as fuck in the morning. But boy, 11 o'clock, once the clouds have hidden sunrise, because they do hide sunrise, all of a sudden, and I'm not the only one who talks about it now, though. Machine operators and other people that work outside. For years, people have been talking about it. It's just different now. And that sun hits, and boom, it's 20 degrees. You can't even call it degrees. You sick fucks, NASA and whoever else is doing this. It's not degrees. It's a level of UV, tanning bed with teeth. Hell, it plays games on your eyes. It changes distance. There's just this blue. It makes every surface hot, not just dark surfaces. And it's going to wither it's going to scorch some shit here this summer. I mean, when I found out about it, I forget. I just saw it today briefly, but there's a neighborhood, a town somewhere that just dried up. A whole town full of 200,000 people or some shit like that. I don't know where it is, but there's no water. It's gone. Everybody pack your shit. The well's all dried up. What? And don't even get me started about the data centers. Let me keep in my notes just for a minute. Ultra dimensional. But I thought to myself, what would be one of the reasons for us from the future to be coming back to us? Because if you listen carefully to what the young lady said, it was that there is some catastrophe or some kind of an apocalyptic event in the near future. I didn't miss that. Those were her most fucking important words. Near future. And then she kind of went on and she was back to her beer and, and her munchies, and she was killing that food. Didn't know what was more interesting. I was fucking what she talking about. Shit, or what she eating. What an adorable young lady. And I mulled over that. In the couple of hours I was deciding to go live tonight, I thought to myself, sometime in the near future, and I've gotten over the, be ready at any fucking moment, with your sword and your cans of tuna, whatever, dude. Whatever. This shit is gonna come so sneaky, so much Jesus sneaking up on that ass. No. Mm-hmm. Ain't gonna be no ready. It's gonna be the fucking Skywatchers. We do have a leg up, folks. We will be some of the first people. Because we're Skywatchers. I could feel the sky tonight. I took a video. It was about an hour before sunset, and the rainbow sundog things were out. Why is the one on the right in particular? And all this sun, the ice crystals hexagonally shaped. No, there's shit going on, and we see it. But Amy alluded to that. She did. Point blank. One of the sharpest minds being groomed by the established, industry, military, science, you name it. She was at all the top meetings and had and said that. Now, again, for me, the plot thickens because I've been doing this for 10 years and I've watched the conspiracies and I've heard the stories, but I've never seen anything quite like this. And yet to me, to not stop for a minute and just think to myself, well, shit, so you mean that the United States government let some of their most valuable assets get picked off like this? And then I thought to myself, don't discredit the fact that one of them, as the story goes, was walking behind her friends. I believe it was her a girlfriend, like not her girlfriend, but a friend of hers and her friend's boyfriend or something. They were walking in front of her. They looked 1 minute, saw her, turned around and looked a couple seconds later, and she was gone. Malaysian Flight 370. That thing disappeared. I'm not sure what to believe anymore, which is, I think I've established that during the video now. But there's footage from a drone and from a satellite, both of Malaysian Flight 370, as it banked sharply and then disappeared as it was being chased by three circular objects, and they began moving at incredible speed and created an actual solid ball around it. And it disappeared. Boy, did you all see how AI edited 7 voice when he said establishment? That is strange. That's very weird. But I wouldn't. I mean, folks, I don't mean to sound extreme, and I definitely, being in the armpit right now of just self-awareness, self-reflection, and doing the steps and shit. I know when my imagination gets the best of me, but I think in reference to so much of what I do, it's Matt. I've always said that. I haven't said that in 3 years, but I've always said it. We're being Matt. Paste it over like in an art project where you take, different colored paper and you put them all down, and then you put a layer of glue over the top of it. It dries, it's clear, it makes it waterproof. Like butter scraped over too much bread. I'm kidding. So she alluded to it. And I love the fact that I can pick up on nuances like that. That's what my channel is about. It's not the big extreme statements. It's rather the things that aren't said or written down necessarily all the time, but little itty bitty things. Because her having said that is as impactful to me as the moon being in the sky right now. It came out at 2 o'clock today, so it'll be, I mean, maybe not 2. What time was it? It was it came up today about 3 in the afternoon is when it broke the horizon in the east. So till 2 o'clock a.m. So it'll be up probably till about 4, 5, 6 in the morning. I mean, it all ties together. That's what's incredibly, mysteriously so interesting and makes me curiouser and curiouser every day about everything going on in the news, outside of the news, out your window, out your car window, in your little window. It all the little innuendos. It's all incredibly interesting to me. How people behave, how it correlates with the weather, and and for minds like ours, what's coming. It's not a computer. I don't believe it's a computer either. So she was alluding to, something in the near future, which to me could be, and in those kind of circles, they plan, 5 to 50 years out. But 5, 10 years, you don't need to be a ufologist or anything to understand, simply to look at the Earth and its shifting patterns alone. And then we can get into, what might be causing that. I mean, on Fox News, there was a correspondent or a spokesman, Burleson on Fox News, and he was interviewed about his thoughts on these scientists and the rather bizarre conditions under with which, again, they're either losing their, you know, they're done, it's over, or they're disappearing, or they're walking out the door without their cell phone, without, I guess, any ID, or but a firearm. It sounds bizarre. It sounds like the fourth kind. I don't care, folks. This is starting to get really, really interesting. The one girl totally disappearing from her friends. I don't think that, I mean, this would be a real elaborate, it's not a hoax. And it's straight up out of the X-Files. He was posting about plasma demons before he disappeared. Plasma. Well, interesting, because that was Amy Eskridge's area of expertise. Plasma and anti-grav. And what have I been speaking about for 10 years? Whether it's the exchanges that go on in what they call, lightning, which is so different than what lightning used to be like, or just feeling the plasmatic surges, or the other acute senses being at times assaulted, or the veil thinning. These are not far-fetched concepts anymore, especially with people like Amy Eskridge saying that it's real, legit science. Or poor David. Plasma. And what's plasma indicative of? I mean, I can think of a few things off the top of my head. Energy fields, gravity, uh, and then, of course, we're branching into anything from interdimensional, So it makes it. So why would I ever have thought, wow, it's an interesting coincidence that Willow, let's just say, has broken past tense the barriers between dimensions, because that's how. And I didn't explain it, but I did in my last video, and I'm sure you already know, but I'll just explain it in a nutshell. What is Willow doing? Willow is solving a problem in multiple settings. It's giving itself the challenge. It's just doing it, changing the parameters ever so slightly, stretching outwards in every direction. So it's creating an artificial multiverse for itself. And I'm thinking out loud right now, because I'm still having trouble, accepting or internalizing or wrapping my mind around the concept of, well, okay, so Willow, is it literally in the real multiverse? No, not necessarily. It's computer generated. It's AI generated, but it's a simulation, damn near as close as you can get, a perfect simulation to its environment, its constraints, its abilities, the information it's working with, and the problem it's presented with. That'd be like you or me, being given some square pegs or round pens or triangular pegs, and trying to fit them in the correctly shaped hole. And instead of it taking about 10 minutes for us to really figure it out, we create 10 scenarios where 10 of us is able to do it quickly. But then it's able to take all of that, because that would still be 10 knuckleheads, 7, taking about 10 seconds to put 10 little pegs in 10 little holes. But it takes that accumulated experience. I mean, it's hard to even describe how it exponentially, this quantum computing system, and all of them, I'm sure, to a degree, are achieving an ability to create a multiverse of scenarios so as to more quickly solve a problem. That's insane. I can't even wrap my mind around that. That's more information and more light and more mass and more volume and more heat and more friction and more speed than our entire universe contains right now. And I believe that Roger Penrose, my favorite quantum physicist who's still alive and still doing research, he's come out with some new discussion about the fact that the universe may actually be infinite. And then again, we're back to the shitstorm of the overindulgence of information and being fed so much, like little greedy black hole research pigs like me, which is that we might be in a black hole. So is the shit limitless and infinite, damn it? Or are we in the middle of a black hole? And then all this talk now about the fact that, maybe every individual perceives reality differently. So you might be purple with yellow polka dots, but I just see you as... I'm kidding. Is that the case? That would explain why they why they want all these data centers. Yes. I mean, it's incredible. It has to do with bits as well. Qubits and bits, and you bet your ass that a lot of this has to do with Roswell and I'm not going to talk about reverse engineering. I'm not going to talk about that, because for me, I see the bigger picture, a picture as old as the stars, maybe, of the fact that we are most certainly not alone. Something has been guiding the steps of mankind to achieve technology. I don't even know if it was lost. This is a mind bender for you right here. Lost technology or not, our current manifestation of humanity, has created the newest, let's just say, round of earth-shattering technology. Maybe these beings from the future. No. And again, I'm glad I'm thinking this out right now. They're not. They obviously are from the future. I guess a few people, Amy even herself said, "Why are they better than us?" I don't know what she meant. I don't know if she even referenced. I can't fucking believe this. As if people like us are supposed to be ashamed or weird or timid. She referenced possibly not being from here, not necessarily being human. She referenced that maybe she's one, and her level of genius, or a person like Einstein or Oppenheimer or Tesla, who knows, or you or me. And she wasn't crazy. This fucking girl knew that she knew a lot and was on the verge of knowing a lot more. But she was pretty convinced that there were other beings. And I wouldn't say, and I would just say, for my own, you know, sanity, they probably weren't coming back to get anything in terms of technology. We've all heard the stories that they're what, super inbred or impotent. Who knows? Who cares? Fact of the matter is, there's a shift coming, and I'm having tremendous clarity of thought. There's a shift because they're making themselves known all over the fucking world right now. They're not being really shy about it. You've got Tim Burchett, a fucking congressman, coming out talking about it. You get Steven Spielberg about to put out a movie about it. And the government, Hollywood, music industry, all the top dogs in the world, they don't want to be left behind. And they don't want to seem stupid. So your normal average man, woman, and child these days, even though it is the minority, no, it's not everybody out there watching the sky and stuff, but more people, let's just say, are no, not necessarily UFO or extraterrestrial enthusiasts, but we're open. People are learning a bit more to pay attention to frequency. And then we get into the nitty-gritty. Is that at some point people are going to have to pay more attention to frequencies because a data center is going to open up close to them, or they're going to know someone who lives close to one, and they're going to hear more language like frequency. I mean, it's all starting to come to light. But again, Burleson on Fox News, I needed to bring this up because he went ahead and said it for all the mainstream media who wants to say it, and all the people who want to say it. Could China or Russia be responsible for these strange disappearances or unfortunate accidents that are happening to these scientists? And I'm just like so tired of that rhetoric. And I'm sure that the Chinese media probably does it, and the Russian media probably does it, but I would imagine not to the fucking lame ass gay degree that the American media and press does it. Give me China, and I mean, fuck, I'd love to go to China or Russia. I would. I hate how the Western media just paints the whole world to be a bunch of assholes except for us. You've got to be kidding me. Chinese people are dying to fucking come to America. They're no more responsible for what their governments do than we are what our government does. Ours just takes out our leaders, and I mean, you killed all our leaders. We don't even have to do nothing to you. And they're doing it now. Something is happening. But China or Russia, I mean, and the reason why I'm upset about that, and I'm seeing red for a couple of seconds, is because that's what they use to bully us into financing their gluttonous war machine and financing fucking suck ass Israel. I mean, there is no such thing as the American flag. I don't give a fuck. It is the Star of David that flies over our capital. It is the elite people who have bought and paid for the lobby on Capitol Hill. 70% of all the congressmen and women and senators are all lobbied by the state of Israel and all their money and all their secret donors and shit, and they're all eating blood. These people are fucking sick. Russians are honorable, yeah. And I mean all your average Chinese person knows is busting their ass. That's all your average person in the world really is doing, is busting their ass. China and Russia. Even though the elite of all of the world's fucking governments. Well, no, I'll bet they don't. No, no, I'll bet they don't share information. I'll bet they are all arming all their weapons and pointing them all at each other. It's just that in the back of all their fucking minds, they know that there is not just an extraterrestrial presence, but an ultra terrestrial, an extra dimensional presence. And you guys are going to love it because I did have to write it in my notes. So then that means, Seven, that you have to rewrite everything you think again, because where do you fit the story of the Dogon people into that? The Dogon people who have had intimate knowledge of Sirius A and B, the Sirius star system, Sirius A and B, for generations, for thousands of years. The Dogon people, or the Lost Book of Enki, the translation of the ancient Sumerian tablets, which described the journey of the Anunnaki from Nibiru into the solar system. How do you discredit any of the ancients' knowledge of people who may have come from the stars? But you can't. Because if Amy Eskridge is mentioning ultra terrestrials, and if the wash, no wonder there's hardly anybody here tonight, and I'm not surprised, nor am I offended in the least. I could care less. But there is the push on social media now to make sure that we all know that anything that has to do with traveling in space is going to take too long. Stuff's too big and dark and scary. Unfathomably far distances and super cold and shit like that. And and by the way, it's interesting to me because the more they talk about the frozen vacuum of space, which is supposed to be negative 458 degrees, but the fact that supercomputers on the Earth are 2 degrees colder than the vacuum of space, it makes me wonder if it's not like the Russian dolls, which is why I can't help it. I feel more and more every day. I hate saying this, but I feel like life is a simulation. I really do. It would make sense to bring up the convergence negative, like feeling like things just get programmed into your life to, and that even through the programming of a potential simulation, that there might actually be something in charge of it. That's not even the simulation. But this big push, and I notice it, is that what would want me to close my eyes to the stars? What would want me not to think about space as not necessarily these abysmal distances, these vast, lonely, empty spots of space with crushing weights and solar flares and X-class and quasars and supernovas and asteroid belts and comet clusters, such a dangerous place. So uninviting and uninhabitable. Why? Now, don't get me wrong. Way before the movies came out, again, having read comic books as a kid, I was familiar with Midgard and Mjolnir and the Bifrost Bridge and the Nine Realms. And I can't help but bring up the fact that my mom used to tell me that thunder was giants going bowling. And again, when the sky has gotten its most insane, folks, including when there's really strange orange, tangerine, but then electric blue double rainbows pop off on the horizon sometimes, and there'll be lightning in them many times or outside of them, depending on it's crazy. But also when the clouds seem to literally open like scrolls, or it seems like it's a tissue like literally a plasmic kind of fat that's being sort of manipulated and pried at. And all of a sudden, these massive lightning storms come out, and then you'll see a big ass red. Well, you can't go look at the footage from 2019. Oh well. As sky watchers, you've probably seen it before. It looks like tissue when the sky opens up like that. So it's just, this has opened up a lot of curiosity, and I will admit, just some real regret for humanity at the possibility, the real fact that 10 to 12, and you know that there are probably at least twice as many that we haven't heard of yet, of these people whose knowledge is lost to humanity. I'm not sure. I mean, that's just way too fucking cloak and dagger to think that even with her letting people know that there were somebody who'd broke into her house, and her and her boyfriend and shit didn't work out, and she had to move back home. But for people to have top level clearances, and then but to be so easily approached by people and off like that. Now maybe I've watched The Punisher a couple times, too many, but one would think that these people would be protected in some way. One would think that there would be certain tabs kept on these folks, either by themselves or by lettered agencies, and not something to spy on them or keep tabs on their privacy or anything, but just to keep their asses alive. So something just doesn't sit well with me about it all. It doesn't. When asked about it, Carolyn Levitt, who I think is one of the best, actually, that I've seen. I mean, she really is. White House press spokesperson. She's just because Bitten's press secretary, that girl, little black girl with the curly little, she got on my nerves. She would up talk. Everything was up. Well, they all up talk. I haven't even mentioned draconians or but I just think, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody who up talks is a lizard, but I am saying that in the media and in the press and in entertainment, where all this plastic pretentious shit is going on, these people fucking up talk. It just seems to be an acceptable way now to kind of talk about the news and what the fuck planet are you from, people? I've been watching 52-inch screen TV and somebody start up talking. I kick that motherfucker. I don't care. Shit drives me nuts. I don't know if it's Cincinnati or what, but I stopped at a gas station today just to run in and get something to drink and eat. I was getting lightheaded. I get hypoglycemic. And this young white boy jumped out of a BMW or something. His sister was in the passenger seat. He jumps out, flip-flops his little soft ass in the store, opens the door, and just lets it shut right behind him. I grabbed that fucking door. I was like, oh, thanks, young man. Turned around and looked at me. Thanks for opening the door and, being a young gentleman. I mean, this fucking generation, man. And Cincinnati, this little town, I'm telling you, something about Ohio, boy. I mean, brought up the data centers. Like, I mean, you already know. You look up what the fuck the data centers are doing here now, and the tax cuts they're getting, and the government funding, and the fact that everybody is going to be paying the electric bills on the already overburdened fucking power grid, which mark everybody's. I mean, fucking Big Bird can get on here, and if you ask him about the power grid, he'd probably say, well, watch it pop off in multiple cities beginning at some point in the city close to you, because everybody's AC is going to be going. Watch Arizona get dead, dead hot. I mean, the fucking blacktop, what, that was like 150 something. I'm talking about last summer in the dead, was it 60 fucking days of heat like hell? And people want to, I mean, I don't give a fuck. Trolls don't mess with me. Family, anybody, friends, people might made fun of me back in the day, but now people just see me coming and just kind of, and they know I'm not going to say shit. Because something, something, whatever, just the elements alone, and this earth is about to put a can of whoop ass that's going to have everybody looking up. And the sky, it's going to get nuts this year. But Carolyn Levitt, acting as she hadn't heard shit about these scientists or anything. This is where the rabbit hole starts to get deep and spooky and dark for me. If it's just big surprise. Trump was asked about it, and he said, I hope it's random. I hope it's random. We'll know shortly. We'll know in a couple of days. With him, it's always, he's so self-appreciating that makes me want to fucking puke. We don't know shit. We're still waiting for you punk-ass liar, to come out with making the War Department and the Pentagon come up off of UAPs, and you still ain't doing that. You's a lying fucking Oompa Loompa orange tan having. I can't stand him. This is the beginning of some real spooky shit, folks. And I'll do predictions and doomsday shit, but this is going to start being, we really start seeing some plasmatic, literally strange effects in the sky. There are going to be some big ass UFO sightings this year that blow anybody's mind. We're not going to need the fucking government to come up off of the truth, because it's going to present itself. It is. Mark my fucking words, man. And she does look like Three-Body Problem Girl. She does. And as far-fetched and strange as that movie is, I still can't wrap my black ass mind around everything that happened in that show. But I've watched it twice, and I think I might even just go ahead and watch it again. Because there's so many ponderously similar things in that movie. Also, was Barack Obama, again, I said, no snitching and peeking and prying, but was Barack reading books on aliens taking over and killing scientists and stuff? It's just weird. Let me hear some, Carolyn, leave it alone. Monica Jacinto, all these people. What's up with this shooting that happened with the Trump dinner thing? No wonder there's nobody here tonight. Fucking algorithm hates me. I don't know. He kind of likes me, but he doesn't know what the fuck or where to put me. What's up with this new shooting shit at the dinner last night? This is the scariest part of my whole video right now. Noticing how plastically, doggedly fake the media has gotten, while all the movies are about dimensions and black holes and shit. You got UFO movie coming out with Spielberg this year. It's about to be hotter than fucking hell coming up here in a minute, and yet you've got the mockery of the establishment of the government doing this kind of ridiculous shit. Bunch of old rich people, 2,000 people. It was 1,000 big ass fucking crowd full of people, and they all dropped to the floor. No, they didn't. And the Secret Service is kind of mulling around and kind of fucking off, and three-headed sunflowers? We all know that for the last couple of years, sunflowers turn away from the sun simulator. It's too fucking hot. I was in Colorado once, driving to go to a license bureau place, and there were fields of sunflowers, and they were all turned the other way. I don't blame them. I've been outside my whole life, and in 2016 is when it started. I got out of a landscape truck one day, and it was just like, psst. I was like, I'm melting. It hurt. Oh, where am I on the notes? Hold on. Yeah, the data centers. I mean, that is the plight of the real right now. And do I? I'm right in the middle of it. I'm right in the thick of it, and it's just going to be interesting to see where things start to go. Because I've heard recently reference. Well, I mean, we've all been hearing references of, you know, what the future could look like, and it doesn't have to be a comet. Fucking dinosaurs, or UFOs, little green men, or big beautiful Nordic looking ones. This doesn't have to be science fiction. We're not all a bunch of extremists and nihilists. You know, we don't all look up at the sky and be hoping that fucking aliens come. I don't, be honest with you. I mean, whatever is here is here. You know, if I'd have had my way, I thought that the whole world, when I was a kid, I thought the whole world would figure out how to get the fuck off of fossil fuels and racism. I had no idea that we'd be on the threshold of where we are right now. And notice that not once have I said anything in reference to how the weather has gotten the way that it has. It just is what the fuck it is. And it's about to be so hot. So what was it last year in Arizona? 100 the blacktop, the roads, the blacktop, the asphalt was 150 something degrees in that sun because of the intensity of what I just can't help but just feel is fake. Do I have any evidence? No, I don't. But there are just so many indicators, like two shadows. You know, the shadows now aren't just a nice crisp edge; it's two sunflowers turning around. You know, stop signs now get bleached white in a season. There are just hundreds of different evidences. You know, if there's a tree with a lot of leaves on it and the sun is shining through it during an eclipse, all the shadows turn into hexagons. So much of this has to do with the hexagon or the cube. You know, notice earlier I was saying that we don't have the American flag anymore, and I'm not going to bitch and complain about the Star of David because it's not a Star of David, it's a cube. It's the Tesseract. It's the cube on the North Pole of Saturn. It's been here. I don't know. The little dude's got it on their forehead at the Wailing Wall. They have the big ass black cube in Mecca. They have the Xbox cube. The fucking cube is it's in front of Trump Towers. It's, you know, the UN. I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I just think that whoever and whatever, including what Amy was talking about, they're here. Um, yeah, the shooting. I mean, you know, and media is just getting so cold blooded these days. Seven and I watched and documented the blue and red Kachinas as they arrived. Yeah, that was interesting. Um, you know, it's called sympathy. Like I guess now in the polls and in the media. I mean, I'm serious. You've heard me reference this a few times. I wonder if people like you and I aren't a group of people who are actually outside of looking at this very strange simulation where people are just glued to the media, the mainstream. I don't think so. I really don't. I think that'd be just way too, you know, I need a nap esque. But the masses are very interesting to to consider what they think of all this and how they still go vote, pay their taxes. Never fucking look up, and avoid watching the History Channel at all costs, because there might be something on UFOs. Who knows? And when it comes to the politics of this day and age, one minute you've got, Vance talking about demons. They're all talking about UAPs and UFOs. Trump was, when he was butthurt and dick sore and jealous about Barack bringing up Area 51, and it wasn't even Barack who did. He just said, I don't fucking know. I don't really care. I'm Barack. What do I give a shit about UFOs? Next day, Trump is all up in arms. He should have been talking about that. It's classified. He can get in trouble for that. Fucking racist, goofy fuck. Wow, man, he just got butthurt hating on the black man. Barack wasn't doing nothing fucking wrong. Basically downplaying the whole thing, which is why I'm more and more thinking that this is a big ass production going on. I just can't help it. I think a lot of what the fuck is going on right now on the major media and news is all going to be the next round of the fucking Titanic, Independence Day, goddamn Armageddon, fucking Black Hawk Down, and feather my motherfucking Ripple. The Artemis mission, in 6 months, he'll have a fucking Disney movie out about it, and an Xbox, PlayStation game. You have dumbasses like me running around buying fucking backpacks and camouflage fucking sleeping bag, fishing equipment, water purifiers, batteries. Fuck, so. I call her ass Quantum Girl. I mean, Amy, that. And there was a quality to her called spontaneity. There was a quality to David Wilcox. This ability to transcend the average in terms of the medium of business, academia, music, entertainment, sports. The people are having a tendency to actually rise up in their authentic, spontaneous ability to comprehend, if not study and perfect, things like interdimensional travel, or some kind of a contact and an awareness of the exchange between us and the magnetic field of the earth, and so forth and so on. She was accredited and educated. I'm from the school of hard knocks. That being said, there's still a kinship that I think that we should all draw some real strength from, in that she's discussing the same kind of shit we all talk about. We just don't all have the fancy gadgets and super powerful rich friends to get to the bottom of all this, nor do we need them, or else we'd be superpositioned with that kind of a scenario. This is the beginning of things like superposition, plasmatic attachments, or a fucking relationship with the Care Bears. I don't know, but things are going to start popping off. 10:59 to 11. I haven't even gotten through all my notes. I don't like making fun of especially presidents, but they're all laughable to a degree, or at least the last couple of rounds of them have been, and twice now in what? I mean, when was that assassination attempt? Was it fucking a year ago, or a year and a half ago? A year ago. Yeah. Welcome back, Uncle Skin. Yeah. I mean, I don't like to say the end, but there is a certain awareness of the fact that if some top minds in the field of everything that it is that we're finding curious and that we're contemplating to a degree these days, if they're expendable, and it does, one of the first things that made me think about after a couple of days was Malaysian flight 370 from over the South China Sea from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. And that big Boeing badass just blip, dis-a-fucking-peared. 10 pentagrams cover the U.S. eclipse. Yeah, I mean that's strange as shit too. Because a lot of this is a glamour. A lot of this is Tesseract cube energy. And it has to do with, I don't care. I mean, tonight I'm being really just frank and comfortable with talking about it. It has to do with the fucking vampiric state of Israel. Its death grip, or rather, its clawed clutch on the ball sack of what used to be the men of America, and women. This is a bought and paid punk ass world we live in right now. And whether it's extra dimensionals or ultra dimensionals or fucking lizards, somebody is behind a lot of this, and they're making moves. They're not being too discreet about it anymore. Not that they were when they offed, great leaders in the 60s and 70s and 80s. They've been doing it all over the world. I don't care. Gaddafi, and shit like that. That is, again, the New World Order just doing their thing. And ultimately, for me, I always say it from time to time, I think that they're afraid of something, which is why I think they have so many particle colliders. Whether CERN's down or not, I think that there's always something going on with the particle colliders that's shifting us out of the sacred timeline. So let me get ready to get me something to eat. Thanks for spending some time with me tonight. This is going to be an interesting transitionary year for me. For a lot of different reasons. I'm kind of like right in the middle of, I jumped out of the frying pan into the fire, and now I'm just kind of hanging out on the counter next to the coffee pot. I'm in a holding pattern. But I'm just learning how to be a lot tougher. And don't look at things as pain. Look at it more as preparation. It's the Cap, y'all. Peace out.